Okay, if you're noticing, just a few seconds ago, this isn't the clothes I was wearing. That's because it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 4 days later. The end of that video, I told you I was getting ready to go to Virginia, and that was my wife just coming home, so I had to go in the house and get ready. So I did the ignition like I told you, but and I just went for a ride. This is the longest ride I've been on, and it was about a little over 23 miles. But the good thing is the bike ran fantastic, no problems. I mean, it's got. I went to have some blood drawn in the doctor's office, and there's a couple drops of oil down there on the lift now. Hang on a second, I'll show you. So you got a little drop there, and I'm sure there's going to be some more over time. But this is what I found when I came home. It's still hot, but if you notice, it's loose. So my standoffs, they came loose during the ride somewhere. So now I've got it back up on the lift, and I've got my wheel off the ground. I'm gonna throw the fan on it here in a second, cool the motor off a little bit. I got to find top dead center on the compression stroke and reset my time, and then lock those down a little better. I did not try to kickstart it when I first left the house. I just used the starter, but I pulled the bike over here around the side of the house. When I got back, there's a little spot there by the house in the fence. This is a nice spot. I've taken some pictures of my bikes there, and I just wanted to get a couple pictures of it right there. And then when I got ready to move it back, rather than just push it around, I just put the kicker out one time. Now, it was warm. I had just pulled up and walked in the house and got my camera, and then went back out. So it had been off for maybe 10 minutes. So it was warm, and it did, but it kicked on the first try. But that's still a good sign. So maybe I plan on riding it to work tomorrow morning, and I plan on riding it as much as I can. So I'm gonna ride it to work, and the more I ride it, I'll find problems with it if I've got them. It's a almost 46-year-old bike, so the problems are there. They'll come to me. But I did, hang on a second. I did replace my battery isolators, the new one there. And then this bolt, try not to touch the pipe, this bolt right here is the bolt from the isolator on the backside that's connected to this bottom plate here. So that one and this one, isolate the battery box to give us some, vibration dampening right there. And then there's my superb wiring skills from the relay going over to the solenoid. And then that's the ignition I just put in that's set to single fire, and it runs great. It runs fantastic. It really does. But I just got to tighten those down a little bit better. They backed off on me. If they loosen up again, I'll probably go see if I can find go to Lowe's and get some rubber washers and put that behind it, or some lock washers, one of the two, because it's surprising. I reached down just to, I tucked this wire in, what I was going to do, because I was going to put the cover back on. It's around here somewhere. I got a little mess here, but anyway, I was going to tuck that wire in, and that's when I noticed the ignition there was loose, and I was like, man, crap. So I put it back up on the lift. I got my scissor jack on it, tires off the ground, so I can move it a little bit. I've got the inspection plug here off. This is where you look for your timing mark on the flywheel. It's just a vertical line. When I set it, well, let me move the tire around. It's easier to do in a high gear when you put it in gear, and then move it a little bit again, move it a little bit, and in high gear it's easier to bump the motor over. So what you do is you can move your rear tire, and then right there, you see that line going up and down. That's your timing mark. Now, all that tells me is that I have the number one cylinder up, but it could be the exhaust stroke. So you don't want to set your timing until you know it's TDC. And what I do there is I take both of my plugs out. I've got the plugs out front and rear. And then I'll take my thumb and put over that hole. Not right now because it's hot, but I'll put my thumb over that hole, and then I can grab the rear wheel and turn it, rotate the motor, and when I feel, you know, air pushing on my thumb, you know you're coming up. And then what I can do is look in there and just bump the wheel until I get that mark where you just saw it. Now, if that was TDC for the compressor stroke, that's where you would want it. Then the instructions for Dyna say turn the ignition on, turn your ignition on, and then once you turn the ignition on, then you take your pickup here and you turn it clockwise as far as it'll go. And you can see there's just elongated holes on either side, so it'll rotate a little bit. You turn all the way to the left, this red light will be on, and as you turn it clockwise very slowly, as soon as that light goes off, tighten those down. Now, once you tighten those down, when that light just goes off, that, according to their instructions, is optimum top dead center. Because this being an electronic ignition, your advance is controlled by this. There's no need to go in there and mess with points or your weights or anything. This is your advance right here. So you set it with that mark I showed you up and down on top dead center compression stroke. Turn that to the left, so the red light's on. Go to the right clockwise, just until that light goes off. Tighten those down, and you're done. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And then also, I'll show you. You have dip switches here, and up or down, depending on the settings, for where you want the motor to redline at, or excuse me, not redline, where you want the motor to, the rev limiter to hit in, how fast you want your advance to come on. This being a bone stock motor, I've got it set to the setting for a stock motor. You want your advance to be a little quicker if the motor was built or if it was on nitrous. But being bone stock, there's no need for that. So mine's set up for the advance to come on at stock. And then also there's a switch on there that you can set for if you're running dual or single fire ignition. And since I took the coil off of that bike back there, so I have no coil on that bike right now, I took it off. It made the ultimate sacrifice to get the shovel head running, and it worked. You can see little marks on the tire. It's slinging oil from the chain. I need to clean that up and then get some lubricant for it. They make some stuff now that's a lot thicker. It doesn't sling off. In the old days, you just put oil on a rag or something and spin your tire and get that chain good and wet, but it would sling it off. So we'll get some of the new stuff, and that chain I might even replace it. I don't know how old that chain is. But the good part is the bike ran well. It was fun to ride. It sounds great with 1 3/4 inch, 40-inch long drag pipes. Those are, as far as I'm concerned, the shovel head is the best sounding Harley motor made that you can run the 1 3/4 inch, 40-inch long drag pipes on. They sound great. Now, the only bad thing with drag pipes is they're really only made for top end. You want that motor to breathe with no restrictions and drag racing. So, that's why all the drag bikes run open pipes. Even if it's a 2-into-1, it'll still be open. There'll be no baffle. but you're running wide open, wide throttle. That's it. Just that. You've done got that puppy ratched back all the way. Now, riding around in town, you're not wide throttle all the time. You're not wide fucking open. So there's a company I found, because I had drag pipes on that FXR several years back. And I found a company called Big City Thunder. They're somewhere in North Carolina. A buddy of mine turned me on them. And I got some baffles from them. And really all they are is a short piece of pipe that fit the inside diameter of your drag pipes here. And I think they said you would put them in about 8 to 10 inches, excuse me, 8 to 10 inches from the exit of the pipe. You would come back and drill a hole, and that pipe that's the inside diameter, outside diameter is the inside diameter of this, so it slides in there. Inside that pipe, they just have what in the old days they called a lollipop, and it's just a piece of tube, and on the top of the tube is like a flat washer. Now, back in the day, what guys would do is they would just go in under their pipes here, drill a hole, and they would have a bolt with a washer welded to it, and then drop it through that hole. Well, the problem with that was you couldn't go too far back down the pipe because you couldn't reach in there. But if you got as far as you could take that bolt with the washer at the top, and then you would turn that washer, and it would give you some tuning capabilities, a little bit, not much. The thing about the exhaust on the Harleys, any exhaust on any internal combustion engine, is you have reversions in your exhaust. It's a pulse. So when the exhaust is shot out the pipe, there's a natural tendency for atmospheric pressure to want to push that pulse back up the pipe. So it's kind of like the pipe is forcing air out, but natural pressure is pushing it back. And the reversion, you can control it with baffles, and you get more performance low end. The lollipops would give you a little bit of tuning capabilities, not near as much as with a 2-into-1, or if you ran baffles or mufflers. People want to talk about motor needs back pressure. You can say that, but that's not a true statement. It's the reversion of the exhaust you're trying to control, and you can't do that on drag pipes. But they sound, my opinion, the shovel heads sound really, really good with drag pipes. 1 3/4 inch, 40-inch long. Now, if you have a big stroker motor, 100-inch, shovel head, and they're out there, then you want to go to 2-inch drag pipes. But for up to about 100 cubic inches, 1 3/4, especially on a stock engine, 1 3/4 is perfect. You don't need the big 2-inch. They're not necessary. So now what I got to do is I got to get my shop fan over there, and set it on a motor and cool it off a little bit, so I can, one, find top dead center, and then cool off this side so I can touch the pickup, and then find that optimum, top dead center compression with my mark over there on the inspection hole, and then come down and lock this down and hopefully lock it better. And I might even go get a couple small lock washers to lock those down. The weather's going to be super nice. I'm not worried about putting the cover back over the nose cone. I'm not worried about it getting wet in there, so I can throw it up on the lift and take those out and put lock washers on there really easy. I might even have a few laying around here. I don't know, there's one. There's a lock washer right there. I have a couple little things here. Oh, there's another one. Different sizes. I might go ahead and just take those out and throw those lock washers on there I've got, so that when I tighten it down, it will hopefully not back off. But the cool thing was, like I was saying a minute ago, when I was getting ready to move the bike back over, before I cranked it up, I looked down and I saw that wire, the cables, the wires from the pickup that go back to the solenoid. but I was just going to push that in to kind of, you know, get it ready to put the cap back on the cover. And that's when I noticed the pickup was loose. But with it even being loose, the bike ran fine. I didn't notice anything, stumble, hesitation. Just every now and then there'd be a little sneeze through the carburetor. And I expect that because I'm running drag pipes. But I was really pleased that the bike ran so well. I love that sound of a shovel head with drag pipes. So I'll plan on running this one to work tomorrow. A few small things I've still got left to do before I consider it done. You know, I guess anybody who rides Harleys, they're never really done. There's always something you want to do to them. But one of the things I got to fix is that I've got those 2 bolts I showed you last week that I can put a plate there and then drill and tap a hole there to put a 1/4 20 nut, or excuse me, bolt there to hold the seat down. That way it's got this at the back, so it's locked there, and it moves a little while I'm riding, but honestly I don't notice it. I don't notice it as much as I thought I would. I think I need new bushings up here for my handlebars. These are what they call rabbit ears, and these are actually, oh man, those things are dirty. I was trying to keep them white. That ain't gonna happen, I guess. Getting all on my hand. The problem with the rabbit ear handlebars and any handlebars that are narrow, you know, and these you can actually loosen up and you can move these in, because I've got them farther out than you would find. They make these where they're set. The way they're welded, they're just set, so the angle there to you is like, you know, more close in. And a lot of the guys in the choppers back in the day rode those. But when you have those so narrow, it's taking more force to turn the wheel. And then I've got a tall front wheel, so it kind of wants to flop a little bit when I turn, coupled with those being more narrow than, you know, like say the bars on that Sportster, or especially what I have on that Road King. You know, they're wider apart. It's much easier to control the bike. It's taking a little getting used to riding with these. So I need to see about getting some new riser bushings. I gotta fix that on the seat. Really, there's not a whole lot left to do, you know, just to ride it every day. Like I said, it's got a couple little leaks, but you know, it's a shovel head. They pretty much damn well leaked from the factory years ago. But I can get the motor and the transmission rebuilt hopefully next year. There's not a whole lot, I guess, I need to do. Got to get in the habit of turning that off. Always turn that off when you're done. But there's really not a whole lot I need to do just to ride it every day. It's just, you know, little things, keeping it clean, wiping off the oil spinning from the chain, or when the oil backs up in the engine, there's enough pressure when you start it. This oil filler cap here, it's got a temperature gauge on it, but it'll pop off and spit a little dribble of oil down here. That's when it has oil down in the system from sitting for so long. But hopefully I'll be riding enough it won't do that. So what I've been having to do is put my hand over this cap while I start it. I don't know what I'll do if I kickstart it, you know, when it's cold, because I just want to pop that cap off. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. I have another video that I'm trying. Hopefully part 1, I think, is on YouTube now, but I still got 2 more short parts to add to that before I load this video. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this one now. I'm going to get top dead center found on that and get my time set back on the static time on that pickup. And then it'll be just ready to, you know, pick one of the 3. The Sportster is my wife's. So I ride it around the block when I work on it just to check on it, but I don't really ride it. But, you know, I've got this shovel head and my Road King and my FXR. Now, the FXR doesn't have a coil on it, because the coil from the FXR is sitting right here. So now that I know this coil works good, I'm going to buy a Dyna coil, a Dyna single fire coil for this bike. And then I'll put this one back on the FXR. And then, oh, there is one other thing I'm going to do. When I ran the wiring for this new pickup down there and brought it up here, I have a little, you know, excess right here. And here's 2 wires I'm not even using. I think the green wire is for tachometer, but I'm not running one. So the purple wire, I'm not, I'd have to go back and look at their wiring diagram. But, you know, I've got what I need. My hot, the white to center, and then your blue and pink are for your rear and front cylinders. You're firing. So I need to shorten this up a little bit. For now, it's not in the way or nothing. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. I got it there just, you know, because I was dying to take it out today. So it's not really in the way, but I just wanted to get the bike out there and ride it. It felt good. It sounded great. So now I'm gonna let it cool off and find top dead center, and then it'll be ready to go to start riding. Hopefully, I'm gonna plan on riding. The weather's nice this week here, all week long, so I'll ride to work. A little chilly in the morning, but in the afternoons it's too pretty, so it's hard not to ride. So I'm gonna cut this one off for now, and you know, later on when I get some more stuff done to this thing, I'll make another video. Ronnie's Garage, check me out. Got any questions? Put them down there in the comment section and I'll get back with you. Thank you.